Hi all, welcome to our post GSoC lightning talk session where our successfully completed GSoC students would be talking about their projects that they were doing for the past 3 months. And well, a different news this year is that all 12 students that were participating with GSoC with us have successfully completed it, so that's great. So right now, all of them will be talking about their projects and what they did for the past 3 months. We'll open up for QA at the end. So yeah, that's it. So to start with, handing over to Rohit, who'll be talking about his project.
Good evening, everyone. My GSoC project is adding SVG editor to the rich text editor. I thank my mentor for his help and my support. Next slide. Introduction to project. As the saying goes, a picture can tell 1,000 words. Diagrams and figures aid in learning and understanding concepts better. Giving creators the ability to create diagrams would help them convey their concepts better. SVGs are highly scalable and editable, and that's the main reason I've used SVGs. That's the aim of the project, is to introduce the SVG editor so that users can create custom diagrams for their explorations. Next slide, please. Progress update. Since the last talks, I was able to add few more custom tools and make changes to the user interface. I have added the pie chart tool and an SVG upload tool. Now these tools can be used to make math lessons more easily and convey concepts more clearly. This video shows the usage of the pie chart tool and the upload SVG tool. Next slide, please. Some of the future tasks: add keyboard shortcuts to the SVG editor, add a zoom feature to the editor so that the intricate details of for the diagram can be added, add more custom tools like Venn diagram tool and a flowchart tool. I'm extremely thankful to my mentor, Kevin Thomas, who guided me, coordinating with me throughout the GSoC period and helped me when I ran into trouble. I'm also thankful to Sean for his rigorous code review and other members of the Oppia for providing me with with such a wonderful experience. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Mohammed from Egypt. My project this summer was to interfaces for Open Android application. Rajat is my mentor. Next one, please. The main target of the project is to support high fidelity UIs for the currently shown slides, the currently shown screens in the slides. By high fidelity, we mean that the resulting screen from the code matched the screen from the mocks. The second major target of the project is to introduce screenshot testing. I will talk about screenshot testing in details later in this presentation. Next one, please. Okay, all the milestones were completed successfully, but the third one was revised. I will talk about it later in this presentation too. Next one, please. I'll leave you with some screenshots of before and after. Okay, screenshot testing is a type of testing that is used to prevent UI regressions. Next one, please. Next slide. This can be done by comparing two screenshots together. The first one is the source screenshot. Sometimes people prefer to call it golden screenshot. The second one is the screenshot that we need to test. If the viewers of the new screenshot matches the golden one, the test pass. If not, it fails. Next one, please. There are three main tasks in screenshot testing. They are record, verify, and update. Record is responsible for taking the screenshots and storing them as reference screenshots for later verification. Verify is responsible for taking new screenshots, comparing them with the golden screenshots, and generating a report of the test result. And update is responsible for recording the golden screenshots again. It is used when we intentionally update the UI and want to update the golden screenshots. Next one, please. Unfortunately, screenshot testing doesn't have many resources on the internet. I couldn't find any libraries but two screenshot testing libraries. The first one is from Facebook, and the second one uses screenshot testing from Facebook under the hood. Next one, please. We couldn't use any of these screenshot testing libraries because they run all the espresso tests in the app module. So, for example, when you try to run record task, you will find that all the 600 tests in the app module run, and of course we don't want this to happen. And the second problem is that they depend on Gradle tasks, and we are moving from Gradle to Bazel, so we can't use these libraries. Next one, please. So after discussing these issues and problems with the team, they decided that we will implement our own screenshot testing framework. Next one, please. And that is the reason behind the revision of milestone 3. Instead of implementing the whole screenshot testing process at my side, I needed to implement a class that can take screenshots of the app and export them to the external storage. Also, I had to provide a demo class or a demo BR on how to use this class in screenshot testing process. Next one, please. The final outcome. Currently, Oppia Android application contains tablet layouts for almost every screen, and screenshot testing is ready to launch. The first step was taken successfully, but it will require some more work. But after GSoC, I have provided a class that can be very useful to screenshot testing. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mohammed. So the next project is by Nishan. Nishan.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Nishan. So my project was solving TypeScript and Webpack issues in the code base. Next slide. Yeah, so these are the tasks that I completed in the project. That is type safety, the TypeScript related checks and conventions, documenting TypeScript in Webpack, making the Webpack build faster, and moving some script imports to Webpack. Next slide. So in type safety, currently the outcome is that all the services and components migrated to Angular have proper types. There are checks that ensure that as the services are migrated, they will need to have proper types. Otherwise, the testing fails. And there is also a check that forbids using any as a type. Next slide. We have also introduced the custom check for tsignore, which checks that whenever tsignore or tsexpect error is used, there is a comment above it that explains that what was the error and why is it being suppressed, which helps in maintaining the validity of the TypeScript. There are now around 15 new TypeScript ESLint rules that help in producing better code, and yeah. Next slide. Yeah, moving the script imports to Webpack. So this was necessary to reduce the amount of libraries that are loaded on every page. There were some libraries that we didn't need on every page, and they were being loaded on every page. So this was very bad for speed. So I've moved all the script imports that were not required in every page to Webpack. Next slide. So making the Webpack build faster. So these are the two main changes that were done by me. That were faster DevTools and a cache loader. So faster DevTools, as in, like, they help to build the project without using source maps. So source maps are the things that tell the exact cause of the errors that are caused in the console, because finally the build thing is a bundle. So source maps are the thing that help us to debug the errors and telling exactly which file caused that error. So obviously this caused a lot of time for Webpack to build the source maps. So I have now split this into two parts. Now the default Webpack will compile without using source maps and use the faster DevTools. Also, while deploying in production, we want to use the source maps so that we can still debug the issues that are present in production. So I've also introduced a new flag, source maps, which compiles Webpack using the previous configuration. And yeah, so the outcome is that the build time in production, as observed in and the CI checks, is half as it was before. The build time in development mode is now less than 30 seconds. Rebuild time, when we rebuild the project after building it once, is now only around 20 seconds, both in development and production mode, because of the cache loader. Next slide. So these are the links where these are the wiki links where I've documented about Webpack and guide on defining types. Next. So there is just one future task that can help to improve the type safety. Compile TypeScript using flag. So currently the state of this is that I've set up and config that can help us to implement this gradually, because this can't be implemented at once, because Oppia is a pretty huge project and there were a lot of errors. But this is now a good first issue, and soon we'll be able to implement this in the complete code base. So yeah, thank you. And also I would like to thank my mentor Voita for helping me complete this project.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nishan. So our next project is by Jim. Jim, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jim from America, and my mentor is Sagang Hui, and it's to ensure that Oppia is fully accessible. Next slide, please. So the project, these are the tasks that the project has done. The project aimed to improve Oppia's ability to support users with physical, visual, or hearing disabilities. And I fixed all accessibility errors that were flagged by Chrome Lighthouse. The Chrome Lighthouse would flag common accessibility issues such as unlabeled buttons, hard to see text, and inaccessible interactive elements. I also added keyboard shortcuts that allow users to perform critical actions and navigate to critical pages. And in addition, I also added automated Lighthouse checks into the Oppia codebase to prevent any regressions. Next slide. So this is an example of the Lighthouse checks. So they would simply upload the reports to a temporary URL, which you could access, and the report would look like the image on the right. Next slide, please. And for the keyboard shortcuts, action shortcuts for the library page and exploration page, and the end-to-end tests were added. And these would essentially help users use the library and the exploration player much more quickly. And in addition, there were also some navigation keyboard shortcuts that could also be helpful as well. Next slide, please. And this is there's a quick reference for the keyboard shortcuts that were added. So, for example, you can just press the slash button to go to the search bar, and you can select the exploration category with C, and then go to the skip to main content button as well. And for the exploration player, I added, so J will go to the continue button for the next card, and K will be to the back button. And you can always pop these modals up by just pressing question mark in either the library or the exploration player context. Next slide, please. Oh, and that's all.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Chen. So yeah, our next project is by Prayush, Math Interactions. Prayush.
Oh, yeah, okay. Thanks, Akshay. Hi, guys. So my project involved adding 3 new math interactions, and I was mentored by Akshay during these 3 months. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the basic overview of my project. What I did was replace the old math interaction, which just had a single rule, with these 3 new interactions: one for algebraic input, one for numeric input, and one for equations. And the algebraic and equation input each have 5 different rule types for detecting various kind of learner answers, and the numeric input has 4 different rule types. One of these, the reason for adding a lot of new rule types was so that the creators can detect various kind of learner answers, and they can provide valuable feedback instead of just saying that the learner answer is wrong. And this is particularly important for math lessons because it's very easy to get stuck in a math question and not know where you're going wrong. So having proper valuable feedback is very important. The other thing that I did during this project was remove the old math interaction, since its capabilities are just a subset of these 3 new interactions, so it's no longer needed. And because of this removal, I had to upgrade all the explorations that were using this old math interaction, and I had to upgrade them based on their input to one of these 3 new interactions. So all the algebraic inputs were upgraded to the algebraic expression input, and so on. Yeah, and the last thing that was done was I added an on-screen keyboard for mobile view. This was also important because it's very difficult to type math equations, especially a little more complex equations that have square roots and cube roots and things like that, because it's really difficult to find these symbols on a normal mobile keyboard. So a more user-friendly and a simple on-screen keyboard was added, and this keyboard is also customizable. I have some screenshots and some GIFs that show the final product. Next slide, please. Okay, so I made a demo lesson to show some of the capabilities of the interactions. This was just a simple question: complete the square in this given expression, and obviously I used the algebraic expression input in this. So let's say the learner enters something like x into x plus 4 plus 3. So this is equivalent to the correct answer, but it's obviously not correct. So one of these rules would detect that this is equivalent, but it's not correct. So it doesn't contain the squared term. So something more specific like this would be detectable using these new interactions. So a proper feedback would be given. Then let's say the learner enters something like x plus 2 whole squared with the squared term, but the constant is wrong. It should be -1 instead of +1. So this is also detectable by these new interactions, and a proper feedback would be given instead of just saying that the answer is wrong. Next slide, please. Okay. Also, these warnings were added, which were not present before. Before, if you were making a syntactic error or entering something that doesn't make sense, the submit button would just be disabled and the learner wouldn't know what to do. But now, let's say the learner enters some variable that is not relevant to the question. Let's say instead of x, they enter y. a proper feedback, a proper warning would be shown that would say that you entered an invalid character, and it would also show what characters are valid that you can type. And if they make some syntactic errors like this x.3 or something like that, a proper warning would also be shown in this case. Next slide, please. Yeah, and these are just some more syntactic errors that have proper warnings that will be shown to the learner. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the on-screen keyboard that will be shown in the mobile view. As you can see, it's much simpler to use this keyboard for entering math expressions instead of the normal math keyboard that you get. And also this is customizable. So the creator can mention what letters they want the learner to see in this keyboard. As you can see, the creator has mentioned that they want the learner to see pi, r, and h in this particular question, so that the learner can focus more on finding the correct answer rather than finding the correct variables. If you just show all of the different variables, it might be intimidating, especially for the younger learners. Yeah, next slide, please. And this is the customization arc that the creator can use to enter these customizable variables for the on-screen keyboard. They can mention at most 10 variables that the learner can see in the mobile view. So yeah, next slide. So that was all that happened during these 3 months. I hope that I've made a proper and solid basis that these interactions can be extended. And some of these ways that these interactions can be extended are by adding a customization argument for swappable variables. By swappable variables, I mean, let's say the correct answer is pi r squared for finding the area of a circle, and the learner enters pi x squared. Now, this is not completely wrong. So there could be a customization argument that would detect that the structure is correct, but it's so that it can properly validate it. Another thing that could be done is in the RT math editor. Currently, the creator is expected to enter a LaTeX string, which is not really feasible. Not all creators would know how to enter LaTeX. So the editor that was shown in the previous slides could also be added here, which would make a much more intuitive experience for the creators. And yeah, these are by no means an exhaustive list of rules that I've currently added. So based on the use case in the future, for more complicated or advanced topics like calculus and linear algebra, more rules can be added to detect those sort of answers as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Parish. So our next project is
So yeah, my project was editor page redesigns. So at Oppia we do have some editors like exploration editor, topic editor. So my project was to redesign all of them. My mentor was Sean Lip. Yeah, and these are all the editors that I have to redesign. So topics and skill dashboard, topic editor, skill editor, subtopic editor, question editor, story editor, chapter editor, and exploration editor. So basically these are all the editors that we have. I redesigned them, added some functionalities, and also added mobile views for them here. Next slide. So this is how the topic dashboard used to look before. Yeah, next slide. And yeah, this is how it looks now. So I made the UI beautiful. Yeah, the mocks were provided to me by Chantal. So yeah. So we can see that now the topics dashboard have the count of topic, skills, and the create new topic button. Also, it has proper pagination now, and the topics are much more informative. Like they show what is the classroom and their description as well. And we have a filter. Yeah, since the topics can be a lot, we need a filter, and we can filter them on the basis of status, classroom. We can also sort them, like when based on newly created, oldest created, recently updated, last updated. Yeah, and also on the basis of keywords. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, this is the skills dashboard. So now, yeah, earlier it was just unused skills. We didn't show all of the skills. We just showed the skills that are not yet assigned to the topic. Next slide. Yeah, so now we see all of the skills that are present, no matter if they are assigned or unassigned. Uh, I also added the filter for status and pagination as well, and the skills dashboard look better now. Yeah. Next slide, please. So this is our topic editor. The stories, as we can see, is integrated inside the topic editor as well in the old version, and it looks very simple and basic. Yeah. Next slide, please. So this is how it looks now. I have separated the components. Like the topic card is different, the story card is different. We have a count for subtopics, skills, and stories. There are a lot of edit functionalities, like we can preview the topic card, and the stories list is draggable. And I've added a blue navbar, and yeah, that's it, I believe. Yeah, next slide, please. So this is the skill editor that we had earlier. Uh, yeah, next slide. And this is how it looks now. So apart from looking better, it has more functionalities. We can see the count of misconceptions, worked examples. We can also see the topic that this skill is assigned to, and even the subtopic. We also have a dedicated preview tab now for skills, which is very helpful for the creators. Yeah, next slide. So before GSoC, this was how the subtopic editor looked. So it was basically a modal, and we didn't have a dedicated subtopic editor. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so this is how the subtopic editor looks now. We have a dedicated subtopic editor now. It shows us the skills, number of question, and we can even create a skill from the subtopic editor itself now. We also have a preview tab for subtopic. Next slide. So this is the story editor that we had earlier. It was just a card, yeah, a basic card. Next slide. So this is how it looks now. It is better looking now. It has the list of chapters on a separate card. We also have a dedicated preview tab for the story editor. Yeah. Next slide. So so yeah, question editor. So the question editor earlier was just a modal. Now I have added a dedicated question editor, and we also have this right box which tells us all the parts that have been filled for the question, and it's a lot better now, the new question editor. Okay, next slide. So earlier the chapter editor also wasn't that good. This is how the chapter editor looks now. The right box is dynamic. Like if the fields are complete, it shows as a tick. If they are not, it shows as a red cross. So yeah, the chapter editor is also a lot better now. Next slide. I think all of us at one point of time have used the exploration editor. So this is how the exploration editor looks now. It looks comparatively neat, and yeah, I've added a blue navbar to the exploration editor. Earlier it was on the green navbar, but I've created a dedicated navbar for the exploration editor, the blue one. Yeah, next slide. So this was my whole GSoC project. I redesigned all of the editors successfully, and they are a lot better now. So future tasks can be, since they are used by the creators, I keep on getting constant feedback from the creators that we have at Oppia. And the future task is to, keep updating the editors based on the creators' feedback. And one more thing that can be done is, some more front-end tests and end-to-end tests can be added to make sure that they don't get, like, no one breaks them. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. So the next one is Sarthak for analytics support. Sarthak, oh, I think Sarthak is disconnected. Okay, we'll move on. So I think the next one is James, which is regarding Oppia bot. James. Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is John James, and my GSoC work was to make Oppia bots more useful. My mentor was Ankita. So the main aim of my project was to improve the developer experience when creating issues and working with pull requests, especially for new contributors, and also to help the pull requests to get to completion and not get stuck. Next slide, please. Yeah, so for issues, we needed to make sure that only users that have signed the CLA get assigned to issues, and we need to make sure that good first issue labels are added to issues by members of the onboarding team. Although other contributors can add the label, but it will need to be confirmed by the onboarding team lead before the label gets allowed. Yeah, and also to ensure that pull request labels like change log labels don't get added to issues. Next slide. So this is a simple illustration of what Oppiabot does when you try to add the good first issue label and you are not a member of the onboarding team. Next. Okay, so the next part of my GSoC task was to make sure that PRs move smoothly, right? So we check that PRs are created by new contributors, have appropriate labels. We ping the onboarding team to make sure that they have actually signed the CLA, and if they've not signed, we close the PR and give them a link to the wiki on how to get started. We also make sure that PRs are not created from the test, develop, and the release branches. And when PRs are created, PRs that create new jobs or modify existing jobs, we ensure that they get reviewed by Sean and tested on the backup server. We also ensure that pull request follows the provided templates, meaning that you need to check, you need to run the camera links checks and all of that checks before pushing your code and all. And then there's some PRs that affect the storage layer, so we need to make sure that those are reviewed appropriately. And we also ensure that the right labels are added to pull requests. Next. Okay, so for pushing changes to pull requests usually mess up the Git history, so it's not advisable. And Oppiabot will help to guard against that. We also check that new code owners are not added to the code owner file, and if they get added, we ping the previous code owners to ensure that these guys are allowed to be code owners. Okay, so we ping the PR author when a pull request fails CI checks, and we assign the author or reviewers when their attention is needed in a pull request. Next. Okay, so while Oppiabot does all these things, it might get frustrating if a reviewer is trying to assign the PR author and then Oppiabot gets in the way of the reviewer, right? So before Oppiabot tries to do anything, we need to understand the current state of the pull request in order to figure out what action to perform at a particular time, so as not to obstruct human interactions with the pull request. Next. And I had to create this flowchart-like diagram, which had to be approved by a bunch of people, before the feature had to be implemented. So this flowchart is just showing the stages in which your pull request goes from being created to when it gets merged. Next. Yeah, so to find the full description of what happens when you create a PR to when it gets merged with everything Oppia is going to do, you can check that link to the document which I wrote. Next. Yeah, so this is the progress so far. I think I talked about this earlier. Next slide, please. Yeah, so these are some of Oppia responses when the PR is approved by reviewers. Like this PR, for example, it got approved by Sandeep, and Oppia automatically unassigned him from the pull request, added the PR LGTM label, and pinged Huda that the PR is ready to be merged. Next. So in this other case, the pull request modifies the storage layer. So Oppia pings Sean and Ankita to take a look at the PR and also links them to the model that got modified. Next. Yeah, so when the reviewer requests changes in a pull request, sometimes the reviewer may forget to assign the PR author. Oppia would step in and unassign the reviewer and also ping the PR author that some changes were requested on the pull request and assign them to respond to the changes. Next. Yes, so that's essentially all I did. But my work is directly linking with the developer. So immediately after I finish a feature, it gets deployed and we get to use it immediately. So as a result, I get lots of bugs being detected, and there are a few bugs that needs to be fixed. And also, while working on this, some contributors requested some new functionalities. So those are going to be added in the future. Next. Yes. So that's it. That's how my GSoC went. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that, James. So I think
Yeah.
that's our final presentation. So if anybody has any questions right now that they want to ask the other students, we can do that. Yeah, you can come out and talk on voice. Okay. So, are there any questions? Maybe just other additional comments on your experience doing GSoC with Oppia.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Okay. If you want to talk about your experience, also you can do that. Like, this is the final event for GSoC 2020.
I'm grateful for the 3 months experience that I had. I learned a lot of new stuff. I learned how to work with deadlines, and I learned how to communicate properly.
Yeah.
That was my experience overall. It was stressful, yeah, but it was fun too. So James put it exactly what it was: fun, stressful, and successful.
Yep. Okay. Thanks for that.
I'd like to add that never be afraid again because everything is gonna be okay. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So this video will be on uploaded to YouTube. So if you have any suggestions or tips for future students, you can maybe give that here as well.
Also, I'd like to thank all the mentors. They worked really hard, and as well as the org admins.
Thanks.
Yep, I'd like to say that it might be stressful working on GSoC, but after you complete your project, you'll be really like feeling feeling like you have achieved something after you have completed your project.
Yep. Right.
Also, after completing this project, taking up a new big project doesn't seem that daunting. Now I'm not that afraid of taking up new difficult projects. So that's one of the main things that I took away from this experience.
Agreed.
Okay, for for future students, I want to give them some advice, which is never postpone your work, even if you think it is easy, because from GSoC experience, a lot of easy tasks contained some hidden challenges. So always work early because you don't know what is waiting for you in the future, even if the task is easy. So never postpone your work and never be afraid. Everything is really gonna be okay. People here in Oppia are really helpful, and nothing. There is nothing that you need to worry about.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. And thanks for that. Yeah. I had done GSoC 2 years before, and I have similar tips as well. So after doing GSoC once, like bigger projects don't seem that like seem doable. Okay. So if you have any final comments, we can discuss that. Otherwise, we'll end the video now. So do you have anything, anybody?
Yeah, thanks Akshay for organizing these lightning talks. They are fun.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. In that case, thank you all for coming. This video will be on YouTube, so you can go to the Oppia developer channel to watch it. Thanks. Thanks all.
Okay.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks a lot.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,